foi wono medigo ki yui manok enone tin iyupwa me Ngec kingene watikila tenwa ba pajo me pajo megi wa bene ma en kira wa iwuni iyup eni wa bere ka kel iwulo tenwa o megi wa lu megi wa maguti ka bere ma part ba wenyu fongi o wenyu tamgi o wenyu kit maguti kede lorango kamaguti ye weng wa bere ka wenyu experience gi enone weng wa won moti wa kono o men gi era madwongene ungegi so kira waji ke iwuna kanene watikila tenwa ma kilonyeni Jameson en pola dano ngeyuni yeni Fatboy en be ngatma la tijira di ma pera tek madwane ko winyu won kan ube ngeyni eni radio personality ma pera tek so kono wada le monwa kira wa bir ka lokere na kanene. So James, we were talking about your school in India, uni, you're done, you're returning to Uganda. How did you settle in?
When I came back
from India now.
Okay, so I come back armed with a Bachelor of Commerce degree. And so I hit the streets. Okay, now it should be no problem to get a job. And I applied everywhere and I didn't get shortlisted anywhere. No one shortlisted me.
Even with
my nice BCom degree, and I had been told a degree from India.
Yes.
Everyone will want you because India, is known for business acumen.
Yes.
So they trust that graduates from India are super great at business. At least those were the myths that we were being told, and why many of us went to study in India anyway. We were told, come back to Kampala, everyone will want you. So in my case anyway, that wasn't really the case. And so I didn't have much success. So what happened is, one time I was just listening to the radio to pass the time, and it happened to be Sanyo FM. I listened to some late night show and the guy just sounded so horrible, and I'm like, wait, if this guy can get a job doing radio, surely I can too, because I felt like I could at least string a few sentences together. And I was just struggling. I had some debts and I didn't really know where my life was headed. I'm like, let me just try this. So I walked up to the top of Naguru Hill where the station was situated at the time, Sanyo FM. And I approached the program manager. I said I want to work here. And then he subjected me to a voice test. And then he said he'd get back to me. And I was like, is he really gonna give me a chance? I don't know. But anyway, he called me back and he said, all right, start training. I'm like, yay. And so I was invited to train, and I was told that there was only one slot available. And who else was training with me and vying for that same slot? Somebody called Crystal, Angela Newman. And I'm like, man, she looks nice, she's very cute, she seems like a pleasant person, but I'm sorry I have to beat her because I need this job badly. And so, we competed hard. Now, fortunately, what happened is at around the time that our trainings were ending, so that they tell us the results, another slot opened up. The guy that was doing the evening show left. And so now there were two slots. And so they kept both of us. And so it ended happily.
So you never ever got to know who beat the other.
Exactly. So to this day, it's a mystery. Who won?
They should have told you that. James
would have won that contest. Would it have been me or Crystal? We'll never know. And that sort of began our very long friendship. And Crystal, and maybe I'll tell you more about this later, but now she is with me at my current radio station.
Wow.
RX Radio.
Wow. Okay.
So I started my career in radio. This is 1999 with Sanyo FM.
A long time ago.
Yes, it's like 22 years.
Yes.
Wow, that's
22. Yeah.
Anyway, I was able to find some success there. People seemed to like what I was doing. And then, what happened was that along the way, I went and did other things. I did leave Sanyo FM temporarily. In 2001, I left Sanyo FM. to pursue. I went and worked in an advertising agency.
As a what?
Client services, or some might call that account manager. Basically, the one handling the account on behalf of the agency. So if the agency is doing work for a company, so you're the liaison between that company and your agency, making sure that the client is getting everything they want and being well served, because they'll say, okay, design me this, do this. So I'm the guy that was in charge of it. And it was very hectic, stressful job because being in the middle, in the line of fire,
it was a good challenge.
It was a good challenge. I took many bullets, but eventually it became a bit too much. So I quit. Then I went to Monitor, where I worked briefly at what was then...
Oh, you worked at Monitor?
Yes, I worked briefly at what was then Monitor FM. And then...
The now KFM.
Now KFM,
yeah.
Yes. Just shortly before they made the switch, I was the program manager there for about a year and a half. And then in 2004, I went back to Sunny FM. I was asked to return. I returned in 2004. And so that's where I was. That's where I was until I was, my story ended.
I know. So at what point did you feel like, oh, this is what I'm meant to do? At what point did you feel like radio is your thing for life?
How do I answer that? It's hard to tell. Like, I've never really, I feel like I'm more of a person that pursues excellence. It's like I figured out that it was something that I could do fairly well. I wouldn't go as far as say it's something that I deeply love, or like it's my dream, or it really isn't. It's just I wake up.
It isn't.
No, I just wake up in the morning and I say, hey, here is a job to be done. I think I can do it well. Here is how I can do it well. Let me go and do it well. I do it well. People are happy. I get paid. So that's really been my relationship with radio. I've never ever. It's not something I hold so close to my heart that this is my life's path.
Why do you hold so close to your heart then?
Right now, my dog.
Whoa. Okay.
No, but really, it's. I just feel like radio has mostly been an avenue for me to express my creative ideas, and so in that respect, I like it. But I have been able to express my creative ideas in other ways. So, I am still in radio, obviously, in a different capacity as a presenter, but also now as an owner of a radio station. But I would say that mostly what I crave is excellence. Like, I wake up every morning and I say, I want to do this and I want to do it better than other people. Can I do it? Yes, let me do it. Really, that's my driving force. And so when people come to me and say, oh, please, can I get a job? I've been dreaming of being in radio. Radio has been my childhood dream. I tell them, don't bore me about your dreams. I don't care if radio is your dream. In fact, that really, usually for me, is a turnoff. When you come to me and you say it's your dream, it tells me that you may not be as competent as I might want you to be, because you're coming at me with feelings. I want you to come at me with skills and potential and aptitude. And very often people who approach you from the standpoint of this is my dream, I've wanted to do it my whole life, usually they don't deliver. It's usually the people that never even thought of being in radio. It's usually those people that end up being the most talented people in media. And I think this is true not just in radio, but other forms of media. You will find many of the best, highly regarded journalists are people who
never dreamt of being
a journalist, maybe didn't even study journalism.
Yeah.
But they just had a knack for it and they were good at it. And so radio is the same too. You're not going to find many people that are either well established or highly regarded who would have viewed radio as their first choice of career. You really won't see that.
Wow. Okay, great. You returned to Sanyo FM from Monitor FM. Is that the time you were presenting with Mr. President?
Yes. Mr. President came in shortly after I joined Sanyo FM.
Okay.
I rejoined Sanyo FM in 2004. Mr. President came back in 2000. He came back also because he was there before. He came back in 2006, and then we were a team
of three.
Of three.
It was you, Shanice, right? Melanie.
Melanie.
Yeah.
You have a good memory.
Oh yeah, I was a fan. I've always been a fan. So at some point you were the constant. Like people
Yes.
kept leaving and rejoining, but you were the constant on the
That's
morning
right.
show.
They kept loving me and leaving me.
Was it about the listeners or it was you?
In my case, well, I was fairly comfortable doing what I was doing. I was okay with it, and I think my co-hosts often thought of, and this is really the challenge, is that a lot of people in media are in transit. So media is something they will do as they are considering
Something else.
future options. And at least in my experience, many of the people that I was made to work with really had other aspirations. And so after maybe a year or 2 or 3 of doing radio, they would leave and either pursue further studies or pursue other careers. I was the only one who was sort of content to be there and to be doing that for some strange reason.
So you didn't have other aspirations?
I did, but I could do them alongside
Okay.
the radio. It didn't. My other aspirations did not require me to stop being on radio. So that's why I was still very content to be there.
What made you tick for all these years? What would you say made you the kind of presenter that you were or are?
Well, you would have to ask anyone that would consider themselves a fan of mine. But I would say, I would say that I've always focused on trying to think of ways to connect with my listeners. In my mind, I try to think of who my listener is, what their situation is, what they're doing, what their challenges are, and really speak to the issues that they can relate to and that are important to them. And, you know, I've been able to think of some provocative ways to engage them on these topics. You know, mostly my views on relationships are fairly controversial.
Very.
Some people think they are. And in a way, I've kind of built a reputation as someone who has quite strong views on that subject.
So do you intend to be controversial? It's genuinely your thoughts?
It's genuinely my thoughts, and some people say I'm just trying to be a contrarian, I'm just trying to be controversial, I'm just like, some people say I'm a shock jock. I'm really not. It's just, you know, if you're living in a society where no one wants to say what's really on their mind, then the day you do say what's on your mind, some people think it's shocking. But really, no, I just speak facts. I very rarely say things to either to spite people or to shock people. I've never really thought of myself that way, honestly, and I think it's just by accident that some people feel shocked over what I say.
Because you're so blunt.
Yeah.
So you worked on radio for over, Sanyo specifically, for over 20 years. And last year, you unceremoniously left. So tell us about that experience of leaving just like that.
So it was just an unfortunate series of events. So what happened was there was when the COVID first arrived and then the lockdowns came and then sort of it affected the business community. So a lot of companies started scaling back their advertising, which meant the media had to also do some adjustments in how it handles its money. And many decided that salary deductions would be how they would survive through the lockdown. Many media houses did this, and ours was among them. Now, obviously, when I first heard that it was being proposed for us, I was like, oh, well, we know what to do. It's unfortunate, but hey, what else can you do? And like, I was happy to accept it. Like, I wasn't like, But then what happened is that our middle managers, so we have, if the company structure, I would say is divided in 3 layers. So you've got the top management, and this is really the owners of the business, the Asian owners. And then there's the middle managers, the people that handle
the supervisor,
the departments, the supervisors. And then there's the rest of us who work beneath them, the presenters, the journalists, the accountants, So what happened is that those guys in the middle, it seems, were not happy with the salary cuts and wanted to challenge them. And so they decided to construct a plan to try to compel the owners to reverse that decision. And so the middle managers came to us and said, hey guys, so here's what we want to do. They're proposing salary cuts, but you know what? We shouldn't accept it. So what we're going to do is we're going to engage the management. We're going to talk to the owners. In the meantime, I want us all, we want you guys all to join us in a strike. We're going to take a strike. We're not going to come to work. And so the rest of us were like, what, are you sure about this? Is this how you want to handle it? And they were like, yeah, don't worry. We've drafted a statement. Just put your signature. And so they brought us the statement, and we saw that our general manager had co-signed it. And we were like, well, I mean, she's really the direct link. She seems to know what she's doing. Well, all right, we'll trust her to handle it. And so we all signed. And so we all, decided that this is how we were going to deal with it. But still, we were not sure. We still thought it was maybe just leverage. We thought they were still in talks to resolve the issue, right? Either way, I didn't mind about the cuts. I mean, I thought they were inevitable, but if my managers are saying they want to do something about it, okay.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. So, so then came a day when they said, all right, guys, so the strike starts tomorrow. And I'm like, whoa. So this is real. Yep. So tomorrow, guys, don't show up to work. We will let you know what happens. All right, so we all don't show up to work. And so we're still waiting to see what happens. And I think about, I don't know how many days later, we get emails telling us from the top management, from the owners, telling us that we have voided our contracts and therefore now we are no longer employees. Please hand in your IDs and any other company property, blah, blah, blah. Come and pick up your letters. You will find them at the entrance, something like that.
Wow.
So essentially, we were now jobless.
You were not even summoned to be listened to.
No, we were not. So this was very interesting. Now, it has since emerged that now the owners now know how it all went down, because initially they were blaming. At least I was seeing reports that I was being blamed.
Oh yeah, we saw you all over the media.
Yeah, I was being called the ringleader of the strike, which really wasn't the case. But I mean, and I kept saying in all of the interviews that I did, you guys, I'm not gonna say much, but you're gonna say the truth, because I really didn't even sully the name of the station or anything like that. I mean, I just sort of explained that how it was just an unfortunate incident, and it would seem that the decisions were made in haste, but that the facts would come out. The facts did eventually come out. There was maybe some months ago, a recording that went viral of a meeting in progress. You see, someone in middle management, among those middle managers I was referring about to YouTube, one of them decided to record one of the meetings they were having, where they were hatching the plans.
Oh.
Right? And the top manager was saying very disparaging things about the owner. And so, as I understand it, she is no longer with the station anymore, the company anymore. And yet she had remained after the rest of us had been let go. And we were very curious as to how that could have been the case, because she was kind of the one that organized the whole thing. So how is it that she stays and the rest of us
two guys get to leave?
But then it seems that she didn't give them the full story. Maybe she presented it in such a way to make it seem like it was our fault, and that for her she was just, hey, I don't know what happened. Yet she was the chief architect of the entire thing. And so I understand that after the owners heard that tape, they just were livid, and they just, so now.
So as Fatboy, as Jameson, and when you got that letter, why didn't you feel the urge to go back and say, hey, it wasn't my fault?
Good question. I don't know. I honestly, that's a good question, because a number of people did go back to appeal to get their jobs back, and many of them did. Only about 5 of us did not return. About 5 or 6 of us did not return. So essentially, what happened was that I went out to. I decided I wanted to now do my own, and so that's what I did.
So you didn't feel the urge to go back and
Yeah.
to their detriment. So now you're a business owner. You're an employer actually, with your online radio, RX Radio. What is it like? How is it going?
Well, it's exceeded my expectations in every way. Because in my head, I wasn't even too sure how it would work. I just said, hey, look, this is something I know how to do. And the fact is, I had many of the building blocks already in place. It's a plan I had been working on. It was something I thought I might do in retirement. The day I leave radio, maybe I might want to.
So the firing didn't propel you to start the online radio?
Well, how can I say? The pieces were there. But then when I got fired, I said, okay, let me take those pieces that I have been working on, let me try and make something out of it. And so I was able to set up most of the infrastructure necessary to get it off the ground in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah.
And many people were shocked. And that is because actually I've been working on it for some time. But again, it was something I was intending to do in the future. So I'm glad that I had spent time, beforehand working on this and developing it, so that by the time I lost my job, I had something I could work with. I had a place I could start from. So I already had knowledge of how to build smartphone applications, web design, music scheduling, production. I even had built a studio.
Whoa!
It was already all there. So really, between the time I lost the job and when I announced I was starting a radio station, okay, I just now had to do some tweaking of what I had to get it ready. And so I announced it in August of 2020 that, hey guys, I'm starting a radio station. So that's approximately 2 months after I lost the job.
Lost the job in June. Wow. Is online radio something that you think is big or is going to be big in, let's say, Uganda?
Yes, because if you look at the data from UCC, because every quarter they release reports that capture the trends in telecommunications, smartphone proliferation, and also mobile internet data subscriptions. And quarter by quarter, you just see exponential growth. It's just growing and growing and growing. So more people are getting smartphones, more people are subscribing to data services, on mobile or through other means. And so even when you look at people's media consumption habits, a lot of it now is moving online. Social media, as a very good example. People spend so much time watching videos on social media, or on YouTube, or on Snapchat, or on TikTok, or whatever other
But
platform.
data is very expensive now, with all these tax on data.
You see, but the thing is, that still doesn't stop people from wanting smartphones and wanting to access. I think it's one of those things. It's about internet is now so important in people's lives that a lot of people end up prioritizing it above other considerations. Like if I were to ask you, like if you woke up one morning and you had no data on your phone and there was no food in the kitchen, what would you buy first?
Data. So I can call somebody to give me food, just text somebody.
Exactly. So data weighs highly on people's list of priorities. And yeah, in Uganda it's still costly. I'm hoping that the companies will reduce their costs. I would think it's not happening fast enough. Our data costs are really atrocious.
Oh yeah.
But still, that is not stopping Ugandans from continuing to consume more and more and more of their media online. Because Ugandan TikTok is now booming.
Oh yeah.
Ugandan Twitter, Ugandan Facebook is booming.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are consuming their media online now. So what does that mean for radio?
Yeah.
Well, it means there's an opportunity. It means that you can insert yourself in that ecosystem of media content that people are consuming. So between their YouTube videos and Facebook videos and WhatsApp and Snapchat and TikTok videos they're watching, there's also now RX Radio. It's a part of that ecosystem. And comparatively, ours doesn't consume as much data as the rest. Also, there's a very deliberate attempt by us to target a specific audience.
Oh, I was about to get to that.
Meaning, of course, it's true that if you're an internet-only radio station, there is a section of society that you will not get. There's a section of society that simply will not be able to access you because they won't afford the data to do it, or they will not be situated in places where they would have access to data. So, I mean, if you're an office worker, you know, there's Wi-Fi, or if you're the kind that goes to a cafe where there is Wi-Fi, you know, you'll be able to enjoy RX radio at no cost to yourself, no data cost at least. But yeah, for the wider population, that's not an option. Meaning, we will find ourselves not really engaging that audience, which is fine because, at least for us and our business model, we want to engage a certain section. And it's reflected in our content. We're trying to position ourselves as providers of, in my mind, higher tier media content. You see, if you tune into your average radio station, a lot of them are going for mass market. And so the content ends up becoming a bit, how can I say? I don't want to say
there's
shallow,
so much going on.
But I would have to say, like, not very intellectual or not very well thought out, because really they're just trying to go for the Umuntu Awansi kind of thing.
Grab everyone.
Right? Now, the thing is, Umuntu Awansi are very well served by the plethora of radio stations that exist that target them. But what happens to those who would want something slightly more sophisticated, you know, slightly more advanced, you know? Now, the thing is, those people, what they were doing is they were going out and subscribing to podcasts from the US, or they were watching American media commentators, or tuning into Western radio stations and things like that. They were finding themselves a bit homeless because Ugandan radio wasn't really giving them content that spoke to their aspirations and their interests and their level of intelligence. You know, because, you know, you tune into some radio station and, you know, it sounds like, you know, people are in a market or something. And like I said, that it serves, you know, its audience very well. There's people that want that. And even among the people we target who may like such things, it still comes a time when, you know, you want to listen to something that's a bit slightly polished.
Yeah.
And so that is the need we exist to fill.
And you're so vocal about it, especially on your socials, on your Facebook, whenever somebody comes across and like, oh, can you get on the FM? And you're like, we are not targeting you.
Yeah.
Is there any hope that at some point you know, RX will get into the...
Well, as far as based on the business model we're operating under, it's actually not necessary for us to do that. It'll also come with significantly higher overhead costs, because that would mean maintaining some sort of system or network of you know, masts and transmitters and things like that, which is all very expensive. And if you're doing terrestrial radio, your licensing costs are also extremely expensive with the government. And also the FM spectrum is very congested right now. I don't even know that they're free frequencies that you could even apply for. I've been approached by a number of people that own frequencies. They're just sitting on them. You know, they acquired these frequencies, but they're doing nothing with it. They want to offload them because, you know, maybe they thought of starting a radio station one day, but it didn't work out, or they don't have money, so they want to get rid of it. So such people have contacted me to say, hey, do you have I have a frequency I can give you. Just give me 1 billion shillings.
Whoa.
And it's yours. Like, right. So even like it's even impractical because we're being asked to pay such enormous fees if we wish to access you know, the FM spectrum. That is from those who wish to offload their frequencies. So for now, you know,
You're happy.
We're happy where we are. We're occupying this corner of, you know, of
And I think you're among the first people in Uganda to do online radio.
I would say so. And I would have to say that many people are going to benefit from the path that we are
setting.
we are setting, because what's happening is that if you want to do it commercially, there's a lot of convincing you have to do to the companies you're trying to do business with, because they're going to look at you and say, wait, online radio but online, is that even a thing? Does it work? Do people listen? I've never heard of it before. I'm not sure. So a lot of the companies will hesitate to engage with you or do any business with you, and it is a challenge that we faced, and we've done our best to make a case for why it's viable. And the people that have partnered with us are now seeing the fruits of it, and now realize just how viable and how powerful it is. But then those who will now come after us will benefit
even more. They
will benefit from this path that we've paved, because now when tomorrow they approach a company and say, we are an online radio, they'll be like, oh okay,
it's ours.
Yeah, we know that online radio is a thing now. Okay, so what do you got for us? Show us what you're doing. So it'll be easier for future generations of online radios to thrive in this economy, because we've at least paved the way.
Wow. Okay. Away from radio, and speaking of a niche, our niche are Luo speakers. Yes, especially people from the majorly the northern part of Uganda. And we've had the LRA for over 20 years, and now peace has returned. We even now have a CT. Talk to me about the war. You were away, but I'm sure you were affected in one way or another.
Yes.
How and what do you think can be done, or any advice that you can give to our people who are watching?
Well, I would have to say that there is a tremendous opportunity. We are geographically situated in a very, very good place to benefit from commerce between Uganda and South Sudan.
Oh yeah.
And I think many people are already exploiting that, which is good.
Yeah.
And also, there's so much infrastructure development going on. A lot of investment is happening in northern Uganda, which is very, very encouraging. I really feel that the future is bright. And I think what's happening and why GRU is growing so fast is that during the years of turmoil, I think a lot of people found themselves sort of sitting on that desire to thrive. And I think once the peace returned, I think everyone just came out, it all just exploded out of it. And so now you're seeing a lot of people very eager to set up developments and to construct buildings and schools and hotels and things like this. And I'm seeing in northern Uganda a kind of energy you're really not seeing in other parts of Uganda, because we're hungry.
We are hungry.
We're hungry. We've been seated for a long time, but now the situation has changed, and so we're now coming out all our
glory. What actually food, all food do you like? Any cultures, like the dances?
Of course. I like malakwan, my favorite.
Oh yeah, what do you have it with?
Well, I like to have it with, now that I'm on what is known as keto diet. Previously, I would have...
Oh, that explains your...
Yes, previously I would have had it with sweet potatoes, because it goes so well with
yes.
But now I mostly have it with grilled beef.
Whoa.
It goes very well.
So what, with pork or something, or just that?
Grilled beef and cabbage. It goes well.
Wow. And the dances, the culture dances, or anything that...
Well, I don't know the names of it, so I might get in trouble if I try to name one. But the Larakaraka.
Yes.
That one. Yeah, that's the one. It's very, it's a very romantic dance, because it's the one of the men and the women together, right? It's like a courtship dance.
Yes.
It's lovely. It's beautiful.
How often do you go back home to Gulu?
I was last there in 2015.
That's 6-7 years ago.
Oh my gosh, time flies.
It's so different from 2015.
Is it?
Yeah, yes.
It is?
Yes. Haven't you been seeing us on the socials?
Well, you know
it's
what?
Green.
Please, maybe we can go there and you can show me around.
But of course.
You seem to know all the nice places.
Oh, yes. So you should go home more often.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, as we wind up, what would you want to say about people or young people who want to maybe be like you or get into radio or learn something from you?
Well, first of all, people from northern Uganda, we have a very good reputation in this country. You know, people say don't talk about tribal stereotypes, but there are some tribal stereotypes that are positive. And most Ugandans think this way of northerners. They know that we are serious people. They know that we have integrity. They know we are hardworking. They know we are reliable. They know we are well-spoken, we're educated, you know. So a lot of people view us very, very positively, which means that we're able to thrive in this in a corporate environment, in a business environment. Really, the only thing that would hold you back is you. So I would urge, you know, anyone, you know, from our place to just get out there and hustle and bustle. They can make it. Plus, we're also very popular among the ladies. The way they love
tall, dark, and handsome.
the way they love our men from the north.
Why do you think so?
Of Central, Western, they love us so much.
Why?
Yeah?
Why do you think so?
I think because we're just cool and masculine.
And you like the ladies from the Central.
You
the northern boys. You don't like us, the sisters.
No, but you know what? I'm seeing a lot of the sisters run away with Western men.
Oh, where else should we run? If our brothers are going with the Central.
Yeah, you're right. Somewhere along the way we parted ways. But
yes.
I think we need to start to appreciate each other more. That's true. I would agree with you.
Yeah. And this is where we start at One Word TV. So we can get to hear our stories and you celebrate you.
That's great. We need to see more weddings of northern boys and northern girls.
But of course. So any last words, James?
It's been such an honor to be here with you. I really appreciate you for inviting me here. And this is a fantastic program. I'm going to be telling all my friends about it. They should definitely not miss this program and this channel.
Thank you very much for sparing time to speak to us.
Thank you.
So thank you. I've been speaking to James Onen, commonly known as Fatboy. But for our viewers on One Word TV, ki James Onen mat en chila tenwa kitu winyu kere wone beno ambassador Onen kira eno tiro iwune en la ten me paje ki kome gangi chila yivi gulu kenyi yu Kampala keti biro Kampala leba churi ne petekotwal ento winyu. So miro bit because celebrating no ten wama peginge lepne wa all go win ento madwong ni wak bene wangegi. So bino gikeme program wa tin ana bere emma choir alegni ubet mebe.